Iron Stories, Episode 31, Pillaged. Welcome back to another episode of Iron Stories. Where we last have left off, Jebran and Katania finally made it to Whitewood, a small forest/farming community or enclave. And they found it in ruins. Well, not entirely. There's like multiple buildings that have been put on fire or have been already burned to a crisp or nearly to a crisp. The whole village seems to be in a uproar. Seems to be very wary of whoever comes in and out of the village, and they're taking a good look as they approach the village boundaries. These two, where they can see in the distance a fire that has been put on in the middle of the village, where they're burning the few that they managed to kill, the village managed to kill of the invaders. And there is some graves that are being dug outside of the village in preparation of burying those that try to defend the village but failed. So they venture into it, and there's like multiple sets of eyes trained on them. Some of them in fear, some of them in just mustering them, ascertaining maybe their intentions. Some of them are very strictly trained on them, like keeping track of every move they make, and in a perpetual state of, you do one false step and I just bring you down, or I try to bring you down. They don't seem to be made for war, made for conflict. Most of them are farmers or artisans of some sort. There is the one or the odd hunter, which is probably the ones that try to defend it, but I mean there's just few and far in between of those, and probably some of the dead that are being buried outside are probably the hunters that try to defend. Most of the people are probably trained on Jebran. He's the more intimidating of the two, with his broad shoulders and maybe mean-looking demeanor. Whereas Katania seems to be a bit more welcomed, if you can say so. I mean, she stands besides Jebran, so it's probably not so advantageous for her, but she doesn't look like that much of a threat, at least to the people here. And she's the one that is maybe a bit more empathetic. Because she has a heart of 3, so she sees a bit more the devastation that's all around her, and in her face you can see a sense of trouble in her face. She sees the devastation all around her, and she's concerned a bit, and she looks empathetic. Whereas Jebran, he has, with a heart of 1, is just like neutral demeanor. It's okay, they got hit, but whatever. He's maybe still a bit sunk, or is maybe a bit still in thought after all this iron corruption stuff, etc. And as I said, maybe is a bit contemplating if this is what this corruption looks like. if this is just the beginning, if this is like the height of it, or if even worse is yet to come when it comes to this corruption. He doesn't understand it entirely as much anyway, but he's starting to contemplate about it at least. I would say at first, I think Katania is the first to break the silence as they are moving silently, slowly through, in order not to invoke any suspicion or invoke any retaliation. They walk slowly, also try to maybe keep a bit apart from the people to not disturb them. Some of them visually or visibly being distraught and being devastated by what happened here. But Katania, I think, is the first one to break a bit the silence, to break a bit the she's trying to gather some information, either to find out what exactly happened here, just to curb her internal curiosity to see or to find out what happened here. And again, as she is empathetic, to maybe find out or to be to maybe help out the people in a sense. On the other side, she's maybe also trying to find out where they might find somewhere to lodge for tonight. It seems that even though they have other things to worry about, probably they hope to still maybe to get somewhere, a roof over their head, and maybe something to eat for the night before and maybe even to resupply as they move forward. Although resupplying probably gets harder. So I roll here on gather information. So she rolled a strong hit. She rolled an 8 against a 3 and a 1, which is really good. So that means I discover something helpful and specific, and the path I must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. She also takes 2 momentum, which brings her up to 5 momentum, which is already really strong. So, she or they learn or discover something helpful and specific. So I would interpret that as they find out what happened here. So I would say at the night before, they got attacked. They got attacked by a party of bandits. And let's say I roll a d6 and add 6 to it, maybe, to find out how many there were. Wow, I rolled a 6 here, so that's I would say that there's like 12. There are 12 bandits that invaded here, and they move around a bit, and there's maybe one guy that is which seems to be it isn't entirely he isn't entirely like a mayor or something like that. He's just maybe one that is somewhat calling the shots here, or at least has a bit of a more to say in this village. It's still a farmer's enclave or a plains enclave where they have like a more democratic thing. But there's still somebody that precedes all the hearings. So like a judge, somewhat. And well, as I said, I think way before, this is like a shared community where there's like forest enclaves as well as the plains enclaves, and forest enclaves are the ones that are looking for the advice of the elder. So there's like a group of elders where they turn to, but this is like the plains enclave part. This guy, and he's maybe the one that is also approaching them as they travel through the village, because they are alien here, or they're obviously just travelers here. He is at one point stopping them in their path, or maybe even when they're standing before the pyre in the middle of the village. He's approaching them, and he's saying something like, I hear you were going around the village asking questions. Let me introduce myself. I am, and let's roll for a name here. So he says, let me introduce myself. I am Dagger, and who you might be. And Jebran and Katania are introducing themselves. Hi, I'm Katania, and Jebran says in a more burly voice, a bit under his breath, Jebran. And Dagger continues, as you might have expected, or as you might have seen, we're not, at these days, we're not too kind to travelers. Be not alarmed, as long as you don't pose any threat, you won't be harmed. But rest assured, we keep an eye on you. It has nothing to do with you in particular. It is just that we have been invaded, you see. Few nights ago, there were bandits that came in the middle of the night. What they were after is not entirely sure, but at least they were after our supplies, or at least our food. They surprised us in the middle of the night. A few of us were still awake, coming back from the hunt, but it was already mostly already too late. In an effort to distract us and to slow us down, they put on fire some of our homes, and even managed to kill some of our bravest that were trying to stop them, but we were no match to them. We were at least able to kill 3 of them, but this is what you see before them. We burned them as a sign of maybe to keep others from doing the same. But it as well costed us dearly, and you might have already seen the graves that we are digging out in the front of a village. So you're coming in a period of mourning. You come in a period of grief and destruction. So do not take this the wrong way, but I would ask you to leave Whitewood at once, to not disturb our community even more. Katania and Jebran listen to this carefully, and as Katania is maybe a bit more as I said, empathetic to the whole thing here. She's the one that is also like starting to speak up a bit, and says something in the sense of, this is quite disturbing. We were just coming here looking maybe for a bit of work, but it seems that you have other things on your mind as well. Kind sir, if you would, we had a day's travel and are quite weary. If you would just have somewhere to sleep and maybe a bit to eat, we would for sure then be on our way. But as I look around, as you have said, you might need these things yourselves more than we do, as I guess. And Jebran is a bit burly against it. He's a bit he just moans and says, okay, hard floor and dried turkey from the boar it is, probably again this night, as it was before. There's nothing to be had here, and they just move along. But Katania is not relentless, and she still asks, but maybe because we came here to find some work, maybe there is something we could help you. And Dagger is contemplating if he could trust these guys or not. I mean, as I said, the bandits took most of our food and supplies that we had. If you wish to have a work, and if you wish to get supplies anyway from us, the only thing I could offer you is that you maybe find the bandits and get some of our supplies back. Then you might have your fair share of it. Some of our hunters scouted out the area. It seems that the bandits that have invaded us did not go far yet. They seem to have made camp in the vicinity, maybe 1 or 2 hours out of the village, for what knows what reason. Maybe they are preparing for another attack, which is what we fear, or they're just biding the time and enjoying the spoils of their recent success. So if you could just get out and maybe reclaim some of our lost supplies and bring them back, we'll be happy. If you killed 1 or 2 bandits along the way, we wouldn't say no to that. But even with just being the 2 of you, you would still be outnumbered, at least 3 to 1, if not more. I think it's even more 4 to 1. Still 9 alive. So if you were be set on that, be my guest, and or be my witness. That I swear, if you if you would swear on the iron that you would get your fair share of supplies out of what you bring back. And Katania looks at Jebran, and Jebran he's maybe a bit rubbing his shoulder where he got hit, and where he still feels a bit. But there are in okay way, so their health and spirit is up. They're just lacking supply, need endlessly. Well, not that much yet, but it's what they lack. And if this is what it takes, then it may be so. And Jebran takes out his axe, his iron axe, and he's trying to swear a vow here to help them. Oh, that was some bad roll. I rolled a weak hit here, a 2 against a 1 and an 8. So Jebran is still a bit out of it from the travel they had, and as I said, he's like rubbing his shoulder, and he's maybe half-heartedly agreeing to the terms. He has like the feeling of, okay, just let's get over it. If this is what it takes, whatever. So he takes out his axe, puts on his hand on the axe, and speaks, by the iron of my axe, so shall it be. Point me to where the bandits were last seen, and we will see what we can do. So, I don't think that he gains the advantage here from Fortune Hunter. I mean, it doesn't make any sense anyway, because they don't seem to have that much of a, well, it says promise here of payment. So the question is if this is something to be paid off, but I don't think so. I think he forgoes that for here. I think he would be just happy to have some sort of supplies here. So he's got a weak hit, so he at least gets the 1 momentum, which takes him up to 5 as well. But we have more questions than answers. So they just basically they point, or Dagger gives them a pointer in a direction where they have last seen, but they have no idea if they're still there, how far away they are, if they may be moved or not. He also hasn't a clue how many are left. Maybe they have split the group. Maybe they got together with another group. They have no idea how many there are, how well prepared they are, how well armed they are, or whatever. So he just points in the direction and says, go there and find out. So they have to come up with a plan here as well, if not. So it's quite, they have no idea what's going on. So I would say this quest or this vow is at least dangerous. It could be that it increases to formidable, but at least for now, I would say it is dangerous. I could argue that maybe it is a 50-50 chance of being a formidable, just depending on maybe how many people or how many bandits and how well prepared they are. But first they have to, I guess, find them. And I would say it's probably best if they just get it on right now. Jebran says so to Katania. after, I think, after Jebran swore the vow to Dagger, he is. You can see a sense of relief on Dagger's face, and then he basically quickly turns and leaves them, just nodding as Jebran finishes his vow, and nodding, and then just turns around and ventures his way. But Jebran at least could still sense that the eyes are still trained on them. They're still looked upon. They're not alone as they think they do. So Jebran is turning to Katania. Well then, you brought us into this mess. Let's see if we can get out of it. And so they venture a bit forth. I would say they still try to maybe gain or get a bit more of the supplies, maybe. But Katania, I guess, has more of an idea. She says, well, maybe one of the hunters has an idea. Dagger said that the hunters were the ones that spotted them, so maybe they could give us more information. It doesn't seem that Dagger has all information on it. So let's maybe find some of them and ask them. So Katania is again the one that thinks a bit more with their head and just with her fists, so to speak. So maybe they are still trying to find out a bit in this community, as long as they can stay here, which doesn't seem to be long, but at least. So she's again trying to gather some more information within the village. As I said, she's trying to find out a bit from the. She tries to find a hunter and maybe and ask that hunter if they could maybe point out some more information about if they saw the bandits and what they saw and so on. So yeah. So she's again gathering some information. Katania did very well here. Strong hit, a 6 against a 2 and a 3, which is really great. Again, the path is very clear for her. She gets another 2 momentum. She's at 7 momentum right now. She is going. She has a flow. She's doing that as very well. So that means I would say they find one of the hunters that actually saw the bandits. That maybe that the hunter that is like keeping a daily tally or daily lookout on of these bandits to keep around to find out if they might attack again or not. So he is the one. He just came back, I would say, from that like scouting session, so to speak. Came back because it turned into the night, which is so he would rather be somewhere safe and not be in the outside where they might get the surprise on him. So he got back, and they find him as he's just coming back from the village, as they were leaving into the direction where Dagger pointed. And so yeah, they're quite lucky in that sense, and they just get back. And Katania is able to stop him in his track and explain a bit the situation that they spoke to Dagger. The hunter agrees to them, says, yeah, I can help you. I'm just coming back from their camp. They're still there. They seem to be frolicking in our supplies that they have gathered. They gathered quite a lot. Now let's see. let me see for a 50-50 chance if they split the party maybe. So if there's maybe they're just maybe like half force or something. Yeah, so let's so let's say, is there like only half of them present? So I roll here the 100, and on a 51 or greater, yes, which means there's only half of them there. Okay, now I'm rolling low. I'm rolling a 15, which means no. So they're still at full force. There's still the 9 left. So there were 12, but the 3 of them got killed. So there's still 9 left outside there. So yeah, I'm sorry, but they're all of them are sitting just around the fire for quite a few days now, eating our fine food or our what we had. The sacks of grain that they stole are still unopened. They're maybe bringing them back from wherever they came, or maybe they're trying to sell them when it comes later on. That's maybe the ones that we could get, or that you could get, but I mean, you're probably outmatched 4-1 to them. So yeah. So maybe Katania is then trying to compel or convince this hunter to help them. She's saying something in the lines of, if you could show us and maybe help us, we would be 3-1, which would be far better numbers. And if we could even surprise them, we would probably have a chance to gain back the resources. If you would be able to help us. What is your name? What is your name, good sir? So let's try to roll for a compel, and then at the same time probably roll for a name for that poor guy. So compel, here I'm trying to charm, pacify, barter, or convince. Mostly probably convince. So I roll plus heart with her, which makes sense. Because she's the empathetic one. She's the more reasonable one. And sees that opportunity to get maybe a bit of a better of a better chance of doing something. So Katania rolled here an 8, and against a 10 and a 2, so it's the first 10 we rolled in this session, which is always bad. So it's a weak hit. So he is willing to help us, but at a price. He might ask something of our return. And so he answers with, my name is Smidr. I could help you, and indeed it would make our chances to survive and even succeed maybe greater, but it's still 3-1. So what might he ask here for in return? So there's like a lot of oracles here that I could use here. So there's some things I could do. I could, for example, think of a action and theme, which is maybe something that he's doing, or I could try to find something about just a goal that his character has. So let's roll on action and theme. These are 2 oracles, which have like some sort of yeah, action or and theme descriptors, and maybe I find out what it could be. So let's roll first for an action, which is a 27, which means abandon and a theme. 63 resource. Abandon resource. I think abandon doesn't make that much sense in this case. I think I roll again on the action table. This time it's a 42, which means demand. So demand resource, which makes much more sense. So he probably just wants to get a piece of the action. If he would help, he would need something in return, specifically. And I could say, I think Jebran even could be the one that is helping out here. He has the Fortune Hunter path asset, which he has some wealth, which he could use which he could use to like reduce and give to him in return. So in the end, this is like a transaction more of a hired sword or hired bow maybe in this case, as he's a hunter, maybe more capable with a bow. Jebran is probably reluctant to give up one of his a bit of his nest egg, so to speak. He was saving that up for making himself comfortable in age or in later life. So he's a bit not happy about that. But I would say I give him one of my wealth. So I've accrued so far 2 wealth on Fortune Hunter. So there's 2 quests. Basically the first 2 quests that we did with them. So I would say he gives up one of this wealth and turns it over. Some of the coin, and the other one seems to be for now accepting that, and then asks them, okay, let's not waste the night anymore. Let's go ahead and get there. It takes us a bit. It takes us maybe 2 hours travel to get there, but if we make haste, we might get them before they go to sleep. So we might have a better advantage on surprising them in their sleep, maybe. So it's already getting dark. I mean, I think they came to Whitewood around sunfall or sunset, so it's beginning to get dark, and if they move around now, they will be probably getting around midnight, getting to this camp outside of the village where the bandits are. So yeah, they get out and they follow Smidr into the wilds, trying to keep up with him. I would say I do here a I could undertake a journey, or maybe reach the destination, because it's already coming to. Well, I can't do that because it's a progress move. Let's just roll a plus wits just to see. Maybe it is an undertake the journey. It's not. It's just to see how well they get there. So yeah, let's undertake a journey here with plus wits and let's see. Okay, so I rolled a 4 against a 6 and a 4, which would be a miss, but since I roll with Katania, and Katania has a really high momentum, I could burn that momentum to get a strong hit here. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I think I would just burn the momentum here. It is, as I said, they came here after they already traveled today, and they just now traveled a bit more. And the hunter, of course, as he is more knowledgeable about the surroundings around his village, he's more knowledgeable about this terrain around here. He is much more quicker and faster to travel here, and they have a bit of a trouble maybe to keep up here. So all that forward momentum, all the forward push that Katania felt in the village so far now, they have a hard time to keep up. They manage to keep up, but it's still hard for them to do so. So I would say Katania burns her momentum here. They just slightly out of breath reach a part of this land where it's like more or less like a plain field here. There's maybe just 1 or 2 trees sitting around here, and under one of them, or in the vicinity of them, the bandits have made camp. And it seems that and indeed it was like maybe 2.5 hours out of the village, and I can just see in the distance still a bit the smoke coming up. Well, maybe not in the dark, I guess. So yeah, and in front of them they see this camp where these bandits have stacked their loot onto as it seemed looks like a cart, and next to them they have made a camp where they're feasting currently upon their ill-gotten gains. And they managed to sneak up. There's maybe a few rocks far in between, and they gather behind them, still enough apart or far from the camp itself, out of earshot, out of sight, hopefully. And they just get behind the rocks and are thinking about the next steps, what they will do when it comes to this camp of bandits. So for now, I would say that at least I mark progress here for the quest, so they got at least one step further in their wow. They found the supplies, so to speak, or they found the bandits. But next time we will probably see how they deal with the bandits as well. So I mark progress here, so that's now 2 failed progress out of this, so I'm out of 2 out of 10. So yeah, because it's a dangerous quest, I mark 2 progress. So yeah, I think this is a good point where we can stop and see us in the next episode, or hear us in the next episode, to find out what happens to Jebran, Katania, and Smidr that is accompanying them, to find out what they do against all those bandits.